Hey, it's Shauna. Welcome to your weekly astrology forecast for December 3rd. This week is about new creations. We have a new moon and some cool aspects involving Neptune, so I am excited to share this with you. And then, of course, I have 3 tips for you to make the most out of this week. First things first, we do have our new moon in the sign of Sagittarius, and this is happening Thursday or Friday, depending on where you are in the world. The new moon is exact at 15 degrees of Sagittarius on Thursday at 11:20 p.m. Pacific time. And so a few different things with this new moon in particular. New moons are always, like the name, marking the sense of newness. New moons mark the beginning of a whole entire lunar cycle. And it's this time of inception, this time of something like this feeling of something new that wants to be elaborated on, that wants to be grown. And that can be emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually, all of the different things. We look at the sign for more information. So the sign of this new moon is Sagittarius. Sagittarius is all about philosophical things, learning, higher education. It's about exploring the world around you through interacting with it, through doing things, going on adventures, whether that is literally doing something and going to a different place, or experiencing something new, learning something new by doing it, or doing that through study and learning about new things and expanding your mind. The other interesting piece of this new moon is that it is square to Neptune. And Neptune is in the sign of Pisces, and so this means a few different things, because new moon is always when the sun and the moon are together at the same point in the zodiac from our perspective. So this means the moon and the sun are in Sagittarius, and they're both squaring Neptune. Neptune is associated with dissolving boundaries. It's associated with mysticism, and it's associated with illusion, disillusionment, and then also the creative process as well. Neptune allows us to tap into the ethereal realm. And so the fact that this is happening in aspect to a new moon, that tells me that this new moon is going to have an even more kind of ethereal quality to it, where you may get a lot of intuitions, maybe some cool, interesting dreams, and a lot of synchronicity. So I want you to pay attention to that this week. That same day, Thursday, Mercury is stationing direct at 27 degrees of Scorpio. And so this is important too, because your logical mind, Mercury, your communication process, Mercury, is stationing. It's going from being reflective over the past few weeks and really thinking about things and being more introspective. And there's a pause before moving ahead to incorporate all of the things that you've been reflecting on the last few weeks while Mercury has been retrograde. So I always like to say, don't, it's nice to not make a ton of plans and be super active in the world when there is a new moon happening, because it's more of an introverted energy, and also doubly so because Mercury is stationing. So it's nice to not do more than you need to, and to really sit with yourself this week, especially Thursday and Friday, and to reflect more than you act. And then the last piece of this week really emphasizes that energy as well, because we have Mars conjunct Neptune. So another flavor of Neptune in here. So when I think of Mars Neptune, I think of running underwater. When you try to run underwater, like in a pool or the ocean or something, it looks really beautiful and interesting, but it's not very effective. So that's kind of like the vibe of Mars Neptune. Mars is about your physical energy. It's about vitality. So it can be just your literal energy level, whether you feel energized or more tired, etc. And then Neptune is about dissolving everything and making things kind of feel a little ambiguous and unclear. And so things may feel unclear. You may feel very creatively inspired, but like physically not really feeling like doing a whole lot. And that's very normal for this time. Everyone experiences it a little bit differently. This is happening in the sign of Pisces, so that adds that layer of creativity and mysticism, but also kind of feeling like you're in a fog as well. And again, like all of these different aspects this week have a very similar theme of introverting and highlighting more of contemplation, creative work, and just like chill downtime in general versus actually doing and acting and thinking critically. So, the other piece of Mars Neptune is that it's like reminds me of what is undefinable. And so you may feel that way this week. You may feel like it's hard to put your finger on things, or you have a feeling and it's kind of hard to pin things down. And that's very normal. This aspect in particular always reminds me of Lady Gaga because she has Mars Neptune conjunct in her chart. And one of the things that she said is that she like relishes being an enigma and like not really being able to be pinned down or boxed in one way. She's like a chameleon in that way, and we can see that in her art and just her appearance as well. So all right, 3 tips for you to really move through this week. Tip number 1 is to chill, honey bunny. I want you to chill this week. There's so much happening that encourages you to introvert and to reflect and to go very deeply into yourself. And so I want you to chill, give yourself some downtime, whatever that looks like for you. And don't feel bad about it. Tip number 2 is to think in symbols. And I say think in symbols because Neptune is associated with dreams, with the unconscious, with the ethereal realms. And all of these different concepts, we can interact with it through symbolism. And so that means if you have a dream, what are the symbols in the dream? If there is something that synchronistically happens, what are the symbols there? I was taking a walk today and I stopped and saw this really beautiful white dog, and there was something about like the white, like the dog was so beautiful and brilliant and white. It like made me wonder, what does white symbolize? And like that's kind of where my mind always goes, but I think especially this week it's like, okay, what are the symbols of the way that the world is interacting with you? Tip number 3 is to question everything. And so I say that this week because we do have Mercury stationing direct, and I want you to be questioning what it is that you've been contemplating, the experiences that you've been having, and this is going to help you make meaning of things. This week is not a week where things are going to be very clear. And so I want you to be questioning. I want you to have this open and curious mind that's going to help you a lot this week, and it's going to allow things to fall into place and to unravel as the weeks unfold. So that is your horoscope for this week. I hope that you enjoyed it. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot. I was going to pull a card for you. All right, so I'm going to pull a tarot card that is just highlighting the vibes for this week. And so, as always, if you have a specific question that you want to ask, you can do that. Or you can just breathe and let it be, and this will be a tone, something for the week for you. Okay. Oh, I love this card so much. So I pulled the Queen of Wands. And this card is really beautiful for a few different reasons. So it's court card, so it's queen card. So it can represent a person in your life. But it can just symbolize this regal energy, the feminine energy, of course. But look at all this yellow. So I always think of a few different things. The sunflower, the yellow, the solar plexus, which is about self-confidence and presence. This card is also, to me, says Leo a lot because she's on this throne, and the sunflower is very Leo and the sun. And then there's this little cat down there that's like, there's something kind of like mischievous and interesting about this card as well. The overall tones of this card are about being a leader in your community and being in your community, in your craft, in your life. Like, you are the queen of wands in your life is what this says. And wands is about passion. It's about creativity. It's about, to me, it feels like a yang energy, and there's like a driving force behind it. So what I would say is to remember that this is you. And that you can have that fire and that respect and that power, but then also have it be like this beautiful feminine energy. And I even love how she's holding a flower there too. It's really sweet. So, all right. So that is your horoscope. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, share it with someone who you think would appreciate it as well. And I'll see you next week. Bye.